Hi everyone. The Partimento tradition began in Italy, possibly Rome, in the 17th century and eventually became centred at the conservatories of Naples, the charitable institutions giving accommodation and some schooling to orphans and underprivileged boys. With the movement of Italian-trained teachers and composers, however, Partimento soon spread to a number of other countries. Handel, for example, used it in his music lessons with Princess Anne, the eldest daughter of George II of England. Nicola Porpora, who was once a teacher at the Neapolitan conservatories, taught Joseph Haydn. Frederick Neate included Partimento in his musical guide and was probably one of several authors of Partimenti included in the so-called Langlois manuscript, with another author possibly being J.S. Bach. The Neapolitan Conservatory students' music instruction covered many aspects, but was essentially composition and performance training based on two broad foundations. Partimento, which included an improvisational element and was largely taught orally at the keyboard, and counterpoint based on written instruction. This dual foundation included much crossover and endeavoured to produce well-rounded musicians capable of composing, improvising and performing at a high level. Partimento is often used as a synonym for a bass part and/or basso continuo. Perhaps this is due to the fact that they are all typically written on a single staff, and both Partimento and basso continuo must be realized and may be figured or unfigured. This connection, however, fails to convey the other features which Partimenti may include. For example, Partimenti may include shifts to other registers and other clefs. Here, for example, in this Partimento fugue from the Langlois manuscript, several clefs, including the now obsolete soprano clef, are used to track the various entries of the fugue subject in different registers. Partimenti may be written entirely as a bass line. This Partimento, for example, the first of a series of lessons, is notated solely as a bass line and therefore looks identical to a continuo part. This contrasts with the previous example where the fugue subject entries are indicated in multiple registers using different clefs. Partimenti may be realized as an essentially chordal accompaniment, or may be contrapuntal in style, or may be a mixture of both. Because of the inherent improvisational aspect in the realization of Partimenti, an identical work, when performed by two different people, will produce slightly different results. Partimento realizations often use a number of melodic contrapuntal paradigms which may be modified and embellished. From the beginnings of their training, students were taught to recognize characteristic melodic patterns and bass lines, which then suggested the possible application of one or several of these paradigms. For example, here Pergolesi uses this version of the so-called Romanesca, a bass line which moves through the first, seventh, sixth, and third. Although similarities exist between some partimenti and continuo bass lines, a partimento is the outline of a complete work, while continuo is an accompaniment. Partimento, then, is a type of notational shorthand which formed the foundation of a largely oral method of instruction in which students, through progressive exercises and lessons, gained the necessary knowledge and expertise to compose and improvise in a number of contemporary genres and styles. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.